You're losing a battle you don't even know you're fighting. Not against another person, against the version of yourself that keeps begging for acceptance from people who would replace you tomorrow without hesitation. Every time you chase approval, ignore your own needs, or sacrifice your peace just to keep someone comfortable, you teach the world one dangerous lesson: that your value comes second. The people who become impossible to manipulate all share one habit. They stop making themselves available to everyone and start becoming valuable to themselves. Niccolò Machiavelli knew that the person who depends on applause will always obey the crowd. But the person who chooses themselves first becomes someone the crowd can never truly control. By the end of this video, you'll understand the psychological shift that transforms ordinary people into individuals who no longer chase attention, fear rejection, or negotiate their self-worth. And the final principle is the one that separates those who spend their lives seeking validation from those who quietly become unforgettable. Everything changes the moment you stop asking, "Who will choose me?" and start asking, "Why haven't I chosen myself?" Number 1. The approval prison: why living for others slowly erases who you are. Every prison has walls. This one is built from opinions. It begins the moment you measure your worth through someone else's approval. You change your words to avoid criticism. You hide your ambitions to avoid judgment. You accept disrespect because rejection feels worse than betrayal. Day after day, another piece of your identity disappears until you no longer recognize the person staring back at you. The frightening part is that this prison feels comfortable. Society rewards obedience. It praises people who constantly please others while quietly forgetting themselves. You mistake acceptance for happiness, never realizing that borrowed validation always comes with invisible chains. Machiavelli saw a truth most people refuse to face. The person who depends on approval can always be controlled. Whoever owns your need for acceptance quietly owns your decisions. Freedom never begins when everyone likes you. It begins when their opinion no longer decides your direction. Think about the people who command genuine respect. They are not admired because they satisfy every expectation. They are respected because they remain loyal to their principles even when approval disappears. Their identity stays stable, while everyone else keeps changing masks. That is the escape. Stop negotiating your character for temporary acceptance. Let disagreement reveal who truly belongs in your life, instead of treating it as something to fear. The moment you stop performing for every audience, your confidence stops depending on applause. You begin making decisions because they reflect your values, not because they protect your image. People may misunderstand you. Some will even leave. Let them. Losing false acceptance is never a loss. It is the price of becoming someone whose life is finally directed from within instead of controlled from the outside. Number 2. The mirror law: why the relationship with yourself decides every other relationship. Before anyone decides how to treat you, they study something you rarely notice. They study how you treat yourself. Every compromise you make against your own standards becomes silent permission for others to do the same. When you ignore your boundaries, dismiss your instincts, or constantly place your needs last, people receive a clear message without you ever speaking. They simply mirror the value you assign to yourself. That is where everything begins. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that authority is established long before words are exchanged. A person who carries quiet self-respect changes the atmosphere without demanding attention. They don't chase validation because they have already settled the most important relationship, the one they have with themselves. Watch what happens when someone apologizes for existing, second guesses every decision, and constantly seeks reassurance. Others naturally assume leadership because uncertainty invites control. Now compare that with someone who speaks calmly, honors their limits, and refuses to betray their principles for temporary approval. The response is completely different, because confidence influences behavior before conversation ever does. Your inner standards become your public reputation. That cannot be faked. Build trust with yourself first. Keep the promises you make when nobody is watching. Respect your own time before expecting anyone else to respect it. Protect your peace instead of sacrificing it to avoid uncomfortable moments. Every act of self-respect strengthens the foundation every future relationship will stand upon. People rarely give you more respect than you consistently give yourself. The mirror never lies. Change the person reflected there, and the world gradually changes the way it reflects you back. Like this video, and comment unbreakable if you're choosing yourself from today. Number 3. The validation trap. Why chasing attention makes you instantly less valuable. Nothing loses value faster than something begging to be noticed. The harder you chase attention, the easier you become to ignore. You reply immediately. You over-explain your intentions. You constantly check whether people appreciate you. Without realizing it, every action communicates the same message. I need your recognition to feel important. That message quietly destroys attraction, respect, and influence. Human nature works differently. Machiavelli recognized that dependence weakens position before a single word is spoken. The person who constantly seeks approval gives away the strongest negotiating tool they possess, the ability to walk away unaffected. Once others sense that you need their attention, they decide when to give it and when to withhold it. Picture two people entering the same room. One desperately tries to impress everyone, joining every conversation and forcing every joke. The other speaks only when something meaningful deserves to be said. They remain relaxed, comfortable, and completely at ease without becoming the center of attention. Ironically, more people become curious about the second person because confidence never demands an audience. Attention follows value. It never creates it. Stop measuring your importance by who notices you today. Build skills. Build discipline. Build character. Let your actions become so consistent that recognition arrives as a consequence instead of becoming your objective. The people worth keeping in your life will notice genuine substance without needing constant reminders. Real confidence is silent. It does not chase. It attracts. The moment your happiness no longer depends on someone else's attention, you become far more difficult to manipulate because your value finally comes from within instead of from the applause of the crowd. Number 4. The solitude transformation. Why walking away is the beginning of real power. The strongest version of you is rarely created in a crowded room. It is created after you leave one. Most people fear solitude because silence removes every distraction they have used to avoid themselves. Without constant conversations, notifications, and outside attention, they are forced to confront the person they have become. That is why they keep returning to environments that drain them, instead of choosing the temporary discomfort of being alone. Machiavelli viewed independence as a strategic advantage, not an emotional punishment. A person who cannot enjoy their own company becomes dependent on everyone else's presence. Dependency always weakens judgment, because fear of losing people eventually becomes stronger than loyalty to your own principles. Look closely at someone who has rebuilt their life. There is usually a period where they disappeared. Fewer invitations, fewer opinions, more reflection, more discipline. While everyone assumed they were falling behind, they were quietly building a version of themselves that no longer required constant reassurance. Distance creates clarity. Clarity creates direction. Protect time that belongs only to you. Read more than you scroll. Think more than you react. Strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, and develop habits that continue working even when nobody is watching. Solitude is not about escaping the world. It is about becoming someone the world can no longer easily influence. Eventually, you stop fearing empty rooms. You begin valuing them, because that is where confidence stops depending on company. Purpose becomes louder than approval, and your future starts being shaped by deliberate choices instead of endless distractions. The people who cannot stand being alone spend their lives searching for themselves in everyone else. The people who master solitude never need to. Number 5. The self-investment law. Build yourself until you become irreplaceable. Everything changes the day you stop asking, "Who will choose me?" and start asking, "Who am I becoming?" That single question separates people who chase opportunities from those who naturally attract them. Most individuals spend years trying to improve their image while neglecting the person behind it. They buy status instead of building substance. They seek shortcuts instead of developing skills. Eventually, appearance fades because there was never real value beneath it. Niccolò Machiavelli recognized that lasting influence cannot be borrowed. It must be earned through continuous growth. The strongest position belongs to the person whose knowledge, discipline, and character become difficult to replace. Respect follows usefulness far more often than popularity. Picture two employees starting on the same day. One spends every lunch break trying to impress the right people. The other quietly learns new skills, solves difficult problems, and becomes dependable under pressure. Months later, one is remembered for conversations. The other becomes essential because results speak louder than reputation. That is the difference. Attention is temporary. Value compounds. Invest in abilities nobody can take away. Strengthen your health until your energy becomes an advantage. Expand your knowledge until your confidence no longer depends on compliments. Build discipline until consistency replaces motivation. Every improvement becomes another brick in a foundation that cannot be shaken by rejection or comparison. You do not become unforgettable by demanding recognition. You become unforgettable by becoming genuinely rare. When your standards rise every single day, opportunities begin searching for you instead of the other way around. The greatest investment will never be a business, a title, or a possession. It will always be the person you become, while everyone else is busy trying to be noticed. Join the few who choose growth over validation. Subscribe now and comment discipline. Number 6. The emotional independence rule. Take back control of your happiness. The easiest person to control is the one whose happiness depends on someone else. The moment your peace relies on another person's attention, approval, or presence, you quietly surrender your freedom. Their replies determine your mood. Their opinions shape your confidence. Their absence steals your focus. Without realizing it, you hand strangers the keys to your emotional life. That is a dangerous trade. Machiavelli understood that external dependence always creates internal weakness. A person who cannot regulate their own emotions becomes predictable under pressure. Predictable people react. Strategic people decide. That difference determines who leads and who follows when life becomes difficult. Think about someone who remains calm after rejection. They do not chase explanations. They do not beg for another chance. They accept reality, learn the lesson, and continue building their future. Their strength does not come from pretending nothing hurts. It comes from refusing to let temporary pain become permanent control. That is emotional independence. Your happiness is your responsibility. Your peace is your responsibility. Stop expecting other people to complete what only you can build. Create routines that strengthen your mind. Protect habits that restore your energy. Find satisfaction in progress instead of praise. The more your confidence comes from your own actions, the less power anyone has to disturb your direction. Freedom begins inside. Everything else follows. When your emotional balance no longer depends on changing people or perfect circumstances, manipulation loses its grip because there is nothing left for it to exploit. The person who governs their own emotions cannot be easily ruled by anyone else's behavior. That is where lasting power begins. Number 7. The unshakable presence. Become so valuable that respect follows naturally. Respect cannot be demanded. It can only be earned. Many people spend years trying to appear important. They speak louder, show off achievements, and constantly remind others of their value. The harder they push for recognition, the less convincing they become. Genuine respect never grows from self-promotion. It grows from undeniable substance. Machiavelli understood that influence belongs to those who remain steady under pressure. A person who stays composed during conflict, keeps promises when circumstances change, and delivers results without seeking applause, creates a reputation stronger than any carefully crafted image. Consistency builds authority because people trust patterns more than promises. Picture two leaders facing the same crisis. One panics, blames others, and searches for excuses. The other speaks with clarity, accepts responsibility, and quietly begins solving the problem. Nobody needs to announce who deserves respect. The answer becomes obvious through behavior alone. That is lasting presence. Stand firm when others panic. Stay disciplined when others drift. Let your actions speak before your words ever do. Protect your standards even when nobody is rewarding them. Become known for reliability instead of popularity, because reliability survives long after admiration fades. Every difficult decision handled with integrity strengthens the reputation people remember when your name enters the room. Real authority never begs for attention. It naturally commands it. When your character remains unchanged by praise, criticism, success, or failure, people stop questioning your worth. They begin expecting excellence because you have made consistency your identity. The strongest presence is never the loudest. It is the one that makes others feel certainty the moment you arrive. That is the kind of respect no one can fake, and no one can easily take away. Number 8. The Machiavelli mindset. Choose yourself first, and watch everything change. Everything you've heard until now leads to one final decision. Will you keep building a life around other people's expectations? Or will you finally build one around your own purpose? That choice changes everything. Most people spend their lives waiting for permission. Permission to leave a bad relationship. Permission to pursue a bigger dream. Permission to become the person they secretly know they could be. Years pass while they continue asking the world for approval that was never required in the first place. Machiavelli believed that power begins the moment you stop surrendering your direction to outside forces. The strongest individual is not the one who controls everyone else. It is the one who cannot be controlled because every important decision comes from conviction instead of fear. That kind of freedom cannot be purchased, inherited, or given. It must be built through deliberate choices repeated every single day. Imagine waking up without comparing your progress to anyone else. Your focus belongs entirely to your own mission. You no longer chase acceptance because purpose has replaced insecurity. Criticism becomes information instead of an emotional wound. Praise becomes pleasant instead of necessary. Your identity remains steady because it is rooted in principles rather than opinions. That is the Machiavelli mindset. Choose growth before comfort. Choose discipline before distraction. Choose yourself before applause. The moment those priorities become permanent, your confidence stops depending on circumstances and starts becoming part of your character. People notice the change because genuine self-respect cannot be hidden. Everything around you begins shifting only after something inside you changes first. Master yourself. the rest of the world will eventually adjust to the person you have decided to become. Choosing yourself is not an act of arrogance. It is an act of responsibility. The moment you stop chasing approval, protecting everyone else's expectations, and measuring your worth through outside opinions, you reclaim the one thing that matters most, your freedom. That is the lesson Machiavelli wanted you to understand. Real power begins within, long before anyone else notices it. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 8 principles challenged your thinking the most? Comment the number below and tell me why. And if you're serious about building an unshakable mindset, subscribe now. This channel isn't for people looking for comfort. It's for those determined to understand human nature, master themselves, and become impossible to manipulate. Remember this: the world changes the way it treats you only after you change the way you treat yourself. I'll see you in the next video.